What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Vihaan Raman, and I just want to start off this video by saying I miss hockey so much right now. It's been a while since the last NHL game was on, the 2025 Stanley Cup Final, and I just want it to be October already. Life is so much better when there's hockey, and, I also miss my Carolina Hurricanes. But anyway, since we're a few months away from the 2025-2026 NHL season, I thought in this video I would talk about some of my predictions. So I'm going to be talking about who I think will win the Art Ross Trophy, the President's Trophy, who will get the first overall pick, etc. Now, before we continue with this video, it would really mean a lot to me if you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. I love making YouTube videos, so if you guys want to see more of my YouTube videos, then I encourage you to hit that subscribe button, and also follow me on Instagram, which is at Vihaan Raman. There's going to be a link for that in the description below. So starting off, I'm going to be predicting who I think will win the Stanley Cup next season. I was watching a video from TSN, and they were saying that the Carolina Hurricanes have the highest odds of winning the Stanley Cup next year. They have been saying that for like the past 2 years, and obviously we didn't win the Stanley Cup last year. But the team who I think is going to win it next year is the Florida Panthers. Now, we all know how dominant the Florida Panthers have been. They made it to the Stanley Cup Final in 3 consecutive years, and they won the Stanley Cup back-to-back years. Their biggest priorities heading into this offseason were to re-sign Aaron Ekblad, Sam Bennett, and Brad Marchand as they were there in the last year of their contracts. But of course, Bill Zito not going to let those guys go, considering how dominant they were and helping the Florida Panthers win the Stanley Cup in back-to-back seasons. So he ends up re-signing those guys in hopes of turning the Florida Panthers into a dynasty. Bill Zito is a world-class GM, and for him to re-sign Brad Marchand, Sam Bennett, and Aaron Ekblad, pretty much keeping the same team from this year, like pure masterclass. So yeah, I think the Florida Panthers have more than it takes to win a 3rd consecutive Stanley Cup. So next up, I'm going to be talking about who I think will win the first overall pick in the 2026 NHL Draft and have the opportunity to draft the projected number 1 overall pick, Gavin McKenna, and I think that team is going to be the Calgary Flames. So the Calgary Flames haven't made the playoffs since 2022, and I think it's seriously about time that they get a top 5 pick and get the first overall pick, especially when you got a guy like Gavin McKenna for grabs. They haven't had a top 5 pick since the 2014 draft when they took Sam Bennett, but I seriously think it's time for Calgary to hit the reset button and start tanking for picks. The Calgary Flames are in desperate need of a number 1 center. And, Nazem Kadri, he's good. He's putting up decent numbers in Calgary. But he is getting up there in age, and the Calgary Flames need younger centers who can develop and be a part of their future. So I mentioned Gavin McKenna, who was a projected number 1 overall pick in the 2026 NHL Draft. And he recently announced his commitment to Penn State of the NCAA to play there next season. He is an absolute human highlight reel. He can skate. He's very agile. He can make the other team look ridiculous. He's got all the tools to be a number 1 center, and I think he would fit really well with the Calgary Flames. I think the biggest problem with Calgary is that they start losing at the start of the season, and then at the end of the regular season, when it's about to end, they start winning games. Therefore, they're decreasing their chances of getting a top 5 pick. So they end up drafting 15th, 16th, 18th, somewhere in the middle of the first round, which is not good enough. However, I think they did a really good job in the first round, drafting Cole Reshny, 18th overall, and Cullen Potter, 32nd overall, who a lot of people say is the best skater in the draft. And I have watched a bit of his highlights, and yeah, he is a really good skater. Their defensive core, led by Zane Perret, looks very, very good and will be very deadly in the future. And when you got an opportunity to add Gavin McKenna in the mix, their future just got a whole lot brighter. See, Calgary needs to stop trying to make the playoffs when they know they won't make it past the first round. Instead, they need to start tanking for picks, start the rebuild, and then go from there. Okay, let's talk about who I think will win the Calder Trophy as the best rookie. And there are a lot of good rookies that are going to make a strong case for the Calder Trophy this upcoming season. But if I had to pick one player, I think it would be Ivan Demidov of the Montreal Canadiens. So Ivan Demidov was drafted 5th overall in the 2024 draft, and he was easily the 2nd best player in that draft behind Macklin Celebrini. But Montreal got him at number 5, which was an absolute steal. I don't think any of us saw that coming. I thought maybe Anaheim would get him at number 3 or Columbus would get him at number 4, but no, he went at number 5, which was crazy. He made his NHL debut April 14th against the Chicago Blackhawks, and what a game he had. In the first period of that game, he had a goal and an assist, and I've never seen an atmosphere like the Bell Center. I've never seen a city and a team so excited for a prospect like Montreal was for Ivan Demidov. The atmosphere was just insane. He is just so incredible to watch. He's fast. He can make plays. So this year, Lane Hudson won the Calder Trophy as the best rookie, and I have no doubt that Ivan Demidov will win it, and Montreal will have back-to-back Calder winners. All right, let's talk about who I think will win the President's Cup Trophy as the team with the most points at the end of the regular season. So I mentioned earlier that I think that Florida will win the Stanley Cup, so I think they're going to win the President's Trophy as well. You look at Florida's team and how much depth is on their team. You know, every aspect of their game is off the charts, and they're always one step ahead of their opponents. Like I mentioned before, the fact that Bill Zito was able to keep Brad Marchand, Aaron Ekblad, and Sam Bennett pretty much keeping the same team from this year, like, that's just incredible. So the last time a President's Trophy winning team who went on to win the Stanley Cup was the Chicago Blackhawks back in the 2012-2013 season, and then after that, the President's Cup Trophy curse was born. But I believe that's going to change next year. You know, Florida's pretty much kept the same team, so I think there's nothing stopping them from winning a third Stanley Cup. Next up, let's talk about who I think will win the Art Ross Trophy as the top player with the most points at the end of the regular season. And I think it's going to be Nathan MacKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche. We all know how good Nathan MacKinnon is. He's an absolute beast. Last season, he had a really good season with 32 goals, 84 assists for 116 points in 79 games. But I remember the Art Ross trophy race was between him and Nikita Kucherov, but Nathan MacKinnon would end up losing it to Nikita Kucherov because he got injured at the end of the season. And if I'm not mistaken, those two were battling for the Art Ross the last season, the 2023-2024 season, but I don't think Nathan MacKinnon got injured at the end. But I think he's definitely going to have another big year, and he's going to take home the Art Ross. Okay, so now I want to talk about my predictions for the Carolina Hurricanes. You guys know that the Carolina Hurricanes are my favorite NHL team. We had a pretty good offseason, but in terms of like how we're going to do leading up to the playoffs, I think the same thing is going to happen again. We'll make it to the third round, and then we're going to get our asses kicked by the Florida Panthers once again. So Carolina had a busy offseason. We signed Jackson Blake. We signed Logan Stankoven. We got Keandre Miller from the New York Rangers. We got Nikolai Ehlers from the Winnipeg Jets, which I'm so excited about. Now, do I think we're going to win the Stanley Cup this year? No, because I think Florida's going to win it. You know what? I think, like, Carolina's a great team, but I just don't think that we have what it takes to win the Stanley Cup as of right now. One thing that Carolina needs is a second-line center, because Jesperi Kotkaniemi sucks. I mean, he's not the worst player ever, but he's definitely not worth what we're giving him. I think maybe Carolina could also maybe get another goalie. I mean, you know, Fred Anderson's getting up there in age. Pyotr Kochetkov is a great goalie, but I think we definitely need someone just a little bit better. That would be one of the greatest days of my life when the Carolina Hurricanes win the Stanley Cup. But I think as of right now, we're just don't have the team yet. I think hopefully, you know, like I said, if we can replace our second line center, we can get a better goalie, add some more physicality to our team, then yeah, I think we can definitely win the Stanley Cup. So last year we beat the New Jersey Devils in 5 games, which wasn't hard to do. And then we played the Washington Capitals in round 2. We beat them in 5 games, which I was not expecting because Washington had a very, very good year. And then obviously we ran into Florida and they beat us. So yeah, I think definitely we could probably make it to the third round, but you know, that depends who we play, so we'll have to find out. All right, you guys, that's the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on post notifications so you don't miss any new videos. Give this video a like, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram, which is at Vihaan Raman. There's going to be a link in the description below. Comment down below what you guys think about these predictions and what your predictions are for the 2025-2026 NHL season. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.